Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Karen.
Laurel, are we ready?
We are ready. Let's do this thing.
Let's get it going. All right, you guys, thank you and welcome everyone to the News and Update Show. Today is a very special event where our focus will be on this week's announcement of Facebook's new meta name and highlights of the announcements and activities in and around the Facebook Connect event. We want to hear from you about your feelings, thoughts, and views of the future metaverse with a company like Facebook leading the charge.
We are indeed eager to hear from you and let you have your say about this exciting and daunting topic. We are in our 4th year. Wow. Bringing you the news you need to know about Altspace VR in our community. The News and Updates is produced by our wonderful producer, Mark, showing off his ambidextrous talents among multiple screens and multiple computers in the back corner over there. Just don't pay attention to him. He's pulling all our strings. He's running the show behind the scenes with slides, scripts, video, and live streaming, all while managing us, all of the crazy people in front of you. And everyone, please give us some hearts for the amazing moderators and all the hard work they do to ensure that there's no funny business in here. In fact, the only funny business is right up here on this stage. It's us, and we tend to do that quite well, don't we, Karen?
We sure do, Laurel. We do. Are you ready for some funny business, Laurel?
Oh, I absolutely am. I'm so ready. I am so ready.
All right, well, let's get this party started with some quick news from in and around the Altspace VR community and beyond. And then we're going to dive right into the news from the new Meta. This week was a quiet celebration for the Electric Company. Do you guys remember them? I do. I'm old enough to remember them. By the producers of Sesame Street, already a hit with children and families, in 1971, the Electric Company became television's classroom with more than 250 award-winning episodes. And it continues to be a staple for many through syndication and YouTube. We celebrate its 50th anniversary. I was only minus 10 years old at the time, and honor how far education has come from those wild, fun, psychedelic colored, hippie style educational innovations to learning with VR and AR today. Take it away, Laurel.
Yeah, they broke the rules with their groundbreaking support of the Right to Read campaign in the 70s. I don't know if any of you remember that. It brought teaching right into the home. And we're doing the same right here in AltSpace VR with educational workshops, discussions, classes, conferences, educational virtual worlds every single day. We're not only bringing learning into the home, allow people to virtually walk out of their home to anywhere in the world and beyond to learn. It's so exciting. In a quote in the 50-year anniversary article that Joan Gans Cooney, who was the Children's Television Workshop president, she stated in 1976 that while the show was based on educational science research and academic studies, few of the experts agree on how to teach reading in the classroom, even under ideal circumstances. Wonder how they would view learning today in VR. Wow. So congrats to the Electric Company and to the students who learned through their televisions then, who now, like Karen and I, readily embrace VR today.
Very well said, Laurel. Now, on to some AltSpace VR news. This is the end of our first week. Has it only been a week? It's 2 weeks, I think. Anyway, of our with the new ERP world building experience and the other changes that came with it. How are you all feeling after a week under this, with this under our virtual belts? Emojis, calling for emojis. Happy, sad, laughing.
Yeah, it's a combination. We need a combination emoji.
We do. For the most part, there were few frustrations, but many surprises, as the update went fairly well in general for those who prepared in advance.
Now, an update with bug fixes and improvements to the new World Builder uploader brought that up to 2.2.19. So check your version. Okay, updates included adding the Microsoft login support on Windows, the addition of a Toon shader that's used by the AltSpace VR avatars, and a fix to the thumbnail uploader that would make some happy, but most everyone is really happy about the addition of buttons to expand and collapse all upload entries for better visualization.
The update embraced Unity 2020.3.18, up from 3.9. All worlds developed with 2020.3.9 are compatible with the new version, but it's recommended that world builders update when they can, or if there are any performance or reliability or compatibility issues. We're hoping that the updates will bring us steps closer to 2021. AltSpace VR will likely always be a few steps behind the Unity updates to ensure adequate time for development and testing. But there are some very sweet new features and tools in this newer version of Unity.
Yes. Hope you all are playing with them. We're seeing some of them. It's wonderful. With the update, worlds and events not compatible with the new version will display a warning on the world or event thumbnail in your menu or on the website. So if you cannot enter a world you think is working and you are the owner or have access, please go to the altvr.com website, check the template and the objects in the world. If you see a big red warning, either the object hasn't been updated, or if it's an AltSpace VR kit item, they may have removed it. There'll be notes there on the report to help you understand better about what that all means.
A new web page has arrived on the AltSpace VR site featuring world builders and event producers. Still in development, this informal list highlights those who are volunteering and working as world builders and event producers in AltSpace VR to better help those seeking support find a connection to work with. There is no formal process currently, but if you wish to be on the list, ensure that your AltSpace VR profile bio is complete and list your world building and event hosting qualifications and skill expertise. And contact Jimmy in the AltSpace VR Discord. You will need to be a world builder to apply, as this is not a promo page for just anybody. Work continues as this develops, hopefully into a showcase or maybe even a portfolio project for the creatives in AltSpace VR.
Now, I hope I didn't alarm anyone with any odd sounds, but I fell off my stool. So, and I couldn't get to the mute fast enough. So,
Laurel, please don't break your leg before news and events is over.
I'm trying. I was trying desperately. Just a little stool just rolled right out from underneath me, and there it was. My butt was on the floor. So this is the excitement that you know behind the scenes of the news and updates. So hopefully no one heard all the crashing noises as I went down. I apologize because this microphone's pretty sensitive. But anyway, all right. Ouch. Another update. It's the hazards of working in VR. You know, they say that it can handle dangerous situations. All right. Another update. Where are we? Another update to the AltSpace VR website includes the ability to mass delete all selected images on the Photos webpage, like this. On that Photos page, scroll down below the filters. It took me forever to find it. Below the filters, I use the hashtags and all those hashtags when I upload pictures, and to an edit button. This allows you to select the photos and delete them. Now, we love that you can delete them, but what we really want is a mass download button, because but it's a good start in that direction, because now you have to manually download each picture individually. After you've completed your carpal tunnel treatments, it's really painful. Seriously, I have tried. I've had surgery for it, so yes, it never quite ever goes away. But it's a lot of hard work to download those individually. So we miss the days when 2D and PCVR users had our images were saved directly to our hard drives. Yeah, that's technology working. That's really cool. And then they took it away. It made sharing and life so much easier.
Well, a shortcut was added to the world's web pages at altvr.com for managing world objects. You may now download, lock all, unlock all, or delete all. This is so helpful for those dealing with the cleanups on upgrading to ERP over the past week or so. SteamVR has updated with a maintenance release, bringing it to 1.20.4. For those accessing AltSpace VR through Steam or SteamVR, this update fixes some alignment issues with the left index grip pose and includes the same reduced SteamVR install size as we've reported with the regular version recently.
Now, there's also support for the Tundra Labs tracker. This is a successful Kickstarter project that leverages Steam VR tracking technology for HTC Vive, Vive Pro, Pro I, and Cosmos Elite, Valve Index, Vodco headsets, and other pro-level headsets. Steam VR tracking is an external hardware and software feature that works with the headset to increase 360-degree room and body tracking features. Very freaking cool. If you've ever seen this in action, I have. It's amazing, and it's better than the old full body tracking. So developed by Valve in cooperation with Steam, a base tracker like Tundra Labs can create a more interactive and embodied experience for the user. AltSpace VR is used to support full body tracking with improvements in headsets to link to external tracking sensors. It is likely to be easy to turn that back on. That would be cool.
That would be very cool. Okay, we have a very important announcement for you guys. And honestly, after attending Facebook's Connect keynote, I was disappointed, and I'm really looking forward to this event. So Microsoft Ignite is November 2nd through the 4th, and it'll be in AltSpace VR. It's free to attend, and it'll be featuring some amazing presentations by the Microsoft teams. and the business enterprise departments also of Microsoft. We were blown away during the last events with the work being done on Microsoft Mesh and the Azure Anchor Points. And we're super excited to see where they are with all this now. While there will be great events throughout the 3-day conference, the keynotes on the first day, November 2nd, put that on your calendar, mark it down, put it on your mirror, but don't forget it. That's going to be the place to be for announcements on what's new and exciting. Don't miss that, especially in light of the Facebook announcements this week. Microsoft might have more up its sleeve.
And don't forget, you are required to have a Microsoft account to attend those events. That's how those fun bells and whistles that we love actually appear, is through the integration of the Microsoft accounts. Halloween is our favorite holiday here in AltSpace VR, and this year is amazing. I cannot believe how cool it has been. Oh, there's our mansion right up there on the haunted mansion up there. There are long planned and many last minute events throughout AltSpace VR to celebrate the grand annual haunting. Oh, very good, very good.
Thank you, Laurel. Thank you.
Yes.
Bow, bow.
You did very well. Everyone give it up for Karen. Her scary voice. She's been practicing. I love it.
Among other things.
Other things. And Educators in VR, the news and updates, and World Tours teamed up to bring you the Halloween Fright Night events over the past 2 weeks of October. And there's an event later today, just a couple hours after the news. And the last one is tomorrow. We had a Fright Night reading today with the creative writing. And oh my goodness, there were some wonderful stories. I'm gonna have nightmares from some of the stories, the original stories they shared. Dozens of volunteers from the community are working together to support this community project, including volunteer scarers and many world builders, providing about 25 amazing scary worlds to tour from the maze in the Haunted Mansion that's developed by our own producer, Mark. Yes, it's a great fun and screams and giggles adventure. So take advantage of this amazing experience and celebrate the haunted holiday with us. And I want to say one thing really quick for everybody. Lance is now, Husky over here is now working. Oh, you're not Chucky Boy. You're back to you. He's been working with Educators in VR and has ended up, we call him our director of logistics, but he has been managing this entire Halloween event. So everybody give it up for all of the hard work that Lance has done. This has been, you have no idea, the spreadsheets, the documents, the forms, the rounding up all the volunteers and putting in all the worlds and all the complications and stuff that are associated with this. So kudos, Lance, great job. And he managed to build a world or so to add to it. So right on, Lance. Thank you.
Great job, Lance. As usual, we bring you the news from around the AltSpace VR community every week and in between. The news you need to know to enjoy this beautiful metaverse that already exists. Join us on our News and Updates Discord for updates and related news you can use to ensure you keep updated on what's going on within our very own AltSpace VR meta galaxy within the larger and ever-growing metaverse.
Now it is time to talk Meta. This is our special news report on the new Meta, the abbreviation for Meta Platforms Incorporated, the new Facebook. Let's start with a little recent history to put all of this in perspective. Now, we are willing to admit that Facebook and the Zuckerberg team have been in on the planning for the Meta announcement a long time ago. But the coincidence in the timing with recent whistleblower reports and testimonies combined with revenue losses makes this seem a little too convenient, but we want to be fair as best as we can.
We do. So, having said all that, leaks have been happening for years about the lack of compassion, empathy, and abuse of power and data in corporate Facebook. When Frances Haugen stepped forward as a former product manager for Facebook to become a famous whistleblower, testifying not only before the US Congress, but also before the UK and EU governments, she brought with her thousands of pages of documents about the abuse of users to, and we quote, optimize its own interests, like making more money, unquote, than was what good what was good for the public.
Now, reports included Facebook's inability to not just stem misinformation and illegal and dangerous activity on its platform, but to encourage it for profit, creating a, quote, hostile, inhumane workplace with, quote, incredibly destructive effects on free society and democracy.
Early this week, Facebook reported lower earnings and a revenue miss to stockholders, combined with reports that some of its separately held companies, like Snap, reported lower than expected revenue. Facebook softened the blow to investors by explaining that they were breaking Facebook Reality Labs off as a separate reporting segment, thus as a separate company, and expanding significant resources into augmented and virtual reality products and services.
The news also included announcements that Oculus Quest, soon to be MetaQuest, that's a mouthful, will MetaQuest, that's going to be difficult.
Got to say it 100 times, Laurel.
I know it, it's terrible. They're going to
is.
expand their 2D support with Facebook, Instagram, Dropbox, and Slack, or should I say Meta Instagram, Meta Dropbox, Meta Slack, and other apps. They will soon make the Facebook universe centralized in the new Meta portal as part of what we are now calling the Metaverse. God, very different from what the rest of us might call the original overall Metaverse. It is quickly becoming a one-stop shop for all things virtual and social.
Right after the whistleblower news, Facebook responded, so to speak, with an announcement clearly aimed to distract for a $10 million metaverse prize fund for creators to build games in its new metaverse project, formerly just called Horizon, but recently changed to Horizon World. That doesn't surprise me because they really don't have very many worlds there. I mean, they're just a baby compared to Altspace, seriously. And a $50 million investment in global research and program partners for quality control and global responsibility. Let's see about the global responsibility, right? This new metaverse would be overseen by Andrew Bosworth, recently promoted to Chief Technology Officer. They also committed to create 10,000 new high-skilled jobs in the European Union to help shape the metaverse, hoping to sway the GDPR and other advocates for privacy and data protections by filing massive fines and lawsuits against the company.
Well, trying to allow my okay, we're gonna get back to I'm just sucking it.
Laurel, you didn't fall off your stool again, did you?
No, it's just my jaw just keeps dropping open kind of thing. But, you know, honestly, just a moment of editorial. They spent billions buying these other companies. $60 million, so $10 million for the prize and $50 million for jobs and whatnot is nothing. Chump change, folks, but it looks good on paper. All right, I'm gonna now stop editorializing this. Thursday was Connect, the annual announcement of what's new and upcoming in the world of Facebook. This year was a biggie with the announcement that Facebook corporate is now known as Meta, and the Oculus brand will be retired and become MetaQuest in early 2022, a so-called slow process, shifting away from the Facebook branding and hopefully the reputation. Facebook portals, now Facebook portal, Facebook Reality Labs has just become Reality Labs. Lots of meta in there. Except for it's not Meta Reality, it's Reality Labs.
So from their announcement, we quote, "We'll also expand Meta Horizon as the brand that will encompass all of our first party immersive social experiences." You've seen this already with Horizon Workrooms and Horizon Worlds. Soon you'll see us shift from Oculus to Horizon Home, Horizon Venues, Horizon Friends, and Horizon Profiles, unquote.
We got Meta everything and Horizon everything. It's going to be interesting. So
Mhm.
y'all come on in, find a seat. There's plenty of seats in here. We'd love to have you be part of our upcoming conversation. The announcements also came with the news that more options will be available for logging in on a Quest without a Facebook account. Likely reaction to the very strong protest, possibly legal action, to mandatory requirements that were implemented last year.
New features also announced for Quest include Insight SDK that allows building mixed reality experiences with the Pass-Through API experimental project released earlier this year. Spatial anchors, much like Microsoft's Azure anchors, will lock in real-world reference points to permanently place visual content within a physical space and real-world content such as chairs, tables, etc., to be framed within the virtual experience.
The Voice SDK experimental package feature also allows the use of natural language to have hands-free and voice-driven navigation and gameplay. This will allow us to shout out magic spells or command navigation by yelling, "Run for the hills!" And your avatar does just exactly that. Could be fun.
And off we go.
There we
Serious
go.
improvements are coming for typing in VR with the new keyboard features. This is really cool. Experiments using a neural interface combined with a wristband to monitor the EMG signals to the brain from the hand while typing may just bring us some serious improvements to the typing experience in the real world as well as VR. We still believe that QWERTY's life will be short as new typing techniques are developed, but it is a step in this fascinating direction.
I'd be so glad to get rid of QWERTY. I know it, but I still like it. I think there's got to be something better.
Yeah, but I type
And
really
it-
fast, so I'm a little nervous
Me
about
too.
that, but we'll see.
I know, I do. I'm 110 some plus words, but it's still,
Wow, that's faster
you know,
than me.
I think we can do better.
Mm.
New Codex avatars were also announced to Connect. People will be able to have their body scanned and the avatar created to match them. Now, there's a huge discussion on realistic versus self-created avatars to be had as part of the metaverse discussion, and we're eager to hear your thoughts about this. Do you want to look like your avatar, or do you want your avatar to look like you?
So hang on to that thought as we move into the discussion in a little bit. After the big announcements about Meta, came the news that Meta has purchased. That's all we're going to hear over the next years is Meta, 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 Meta. After the big announcements about Meta, we found out that Meta has purchased the studio behind the VR workout Supernatural, which is extremely popular, as you all know. And it's gaining fast in the VR exercise community with its subscription-based live fitness program. Beat Saber, one of the early popular fitness apps purchased by Facebook from Beat Games in November of 2019, surpassed $100 million in revenue on the Oculus platform a few days ago. Facebook studio acquisitions over the past few years also include Lone Echo, Big Box VR, Unit 2 Games, Sansura Games, and Ready at Dawn, building up a huge metaverse collection of gaming and fitness apps.
Mark Zuckerberg has stated that from now on, it will be metaverse first, not Facebook first, with a new rebranding, but many continue to be skeptical. One of the biggest challenges is determining the economy of the metaverse. Cryptocurrency will be the norm, but what will it look like? Will NFT and other metaverse innovations win, or will it remain a play to earn economy? Investors are watching and waiting, and financial innovators are working hard to own a piece of this lucrative pie. How about some of this pie? I like pie.
I'll take some too. Now, as to the new Quest headset coming, now branded as MetaQuest. Now it's branded as MetaQuest. Its project co-name is Cambria, and it is a high-end standalone headset scheduled for consumer launch in 2022. This is what we know from the announcement and leaks.
Cambria will feature eye, face, and body tracking to support the improved avatars in social VR. It will have a high resolution color pass through for what they call compelling mixed reality experiences. While it may have improved retina displays with smaller lenses and what they call pancake optics, it might have a slightly wider view and improved resolution that works with folding light several times over, achieve a smaller form factor, thus a lighter headset. The key features include hand tracking and mixed reality interactions.
You know, as we look at the new Facebook metaverse, it looks like Facebook is going to have greater access to everything you do on the web, from social media to social interaction to fitness, and likely health and medical tracking data that will go along with improvements for body sensors. They will know not only what you look like and what you do and how you interact with others, but how you move, what is going on with your bodily functions, through wearables.
There's now an app that'll monitor your bathroom habits.
Oh my God.
It'll be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
Here.
Okay. We're going to have a whole
Wow.
different attitude about these things. Now, not everybody's happy with the news. Okay. U.S. Congress Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez publicly slammed Facebook as a cancer to democracy after the Meta rebranding, describing Meta as a cancer to democracy, metastasizing into a global surveillance and propaganda machine for boosting authoritarian regimes and destroying civil society for profit. Damn's fighting words, but they are also based in truth and a prediction on the future control companies like Google, Facebook, Meta will have on our lives if we buy into their false trust. We go into these things with our eyeballs open, and yet here we go. They, free is, there's no such thing as a true free lunch these days.
Very well said, unfortunately, Laurel. Let's also not forget that Microsoft is a big part of the metaverse as well, as is Engage, Second Life, VR Chat, Somnium Space, and many others. We could easily see a buying war as corporations continue to pick up development and design studios and move harder and faster into revenue-generating streams with data collection and profile marketing. Microsoft's announcement 2 years ago of Microsoft Mesh and its integration into the enterprise version of AltSpace VR, especially with the examples at this spring's Microsoft Ignite conference and more expected from the Microsoft Ignite announcements this week here in AltSpace VR. This will be a battlefield fought at the highest income levels that will hopefully benefit consumers. But that part is very complicated.
Microsoft Mesh announced their update in August with new improved user interfaces and features that designed for enterprise users for meeting spaces and creative collaborative experiences that are truly groundbreaking. You have had a little bit of a taste of it here. One of the few features includes the ability to use your eyes to select holographic content, menu items, rather than reaching out with your hands. Called eye gaze interaction, this expands the potential for interactivity.
News in October included a fascinating new feature called Moving Platform Mode that enables HoloLens 2 users on marine vessels to experience a lower dynamic motion to counter the natural rock of the ships. This could be used in so many other ways, such as in low gravity or no gravity situations, and on oil rigs and other unstable ground locations. These are all designed for corporate use, but the improvements will eventually trickle down to consumers. And we here at News and Updates will keep you up to date on developments.
Now, what does Microsoft have to say about all of this? CEO Satya Nadella came out this week on the Harvard Business Review to discuss the new world of work and the metaverse fantasy. He said that the pandemic sped up the process of embracing online remote work experiences. We can thank the pandemic for that. And that the future of business will be one around hybrid work, allowing people the flexibility to work when and where they wish. Most people. He also talked about the great reshuffle or the great resignation, changing the real meaning of work by asking themselves about how people want to work and to really rethink their professional pursuits.
70% of employee research data by Microsoft found that workers want a human connection to collaborate, but they also want flexibility. This change is creating a new work environment and economy as companies are rethinking workspaces and environments. The work that Microsoft is doing with Microsoft Mesh and the integration of software and hardware to a more responsive and interactive virtual experience is changing the workplace forever. And we are a part of that change. How exciting.
Microsoft and Facebook are not the only metaverse players out there. In addition to the growing investor funding of EngageXR and other independent social VR platforms like Neos VR, VR Chat, there's Roblox, Roomy, Glue, Meeting VR, Decentraland, and so many others, all vying for a position of power in this new virtual community called the metaverse.
When Neil Stephenson coined the term metaverse for his 1992 novel Snow Crash, we're sure that what Facebook is creating is not exactly what he had in mind, though it does look more like Ready Player One's dystopian future. So what does Stephenson have to say about the news, Laurel?
Well, in an email interview with Axios, he said that while it is flattering to have his ideas come to fruition, he feels that the Meta announcement was, I'm going to use his words, it had a ripping off the Band-Aid feeling. I thought that was a great description. He said, what is actually being built is fundamentally different from the metaverse of the book in a few important ways, particularly the revenue model. The way makers of the system make money is more important than anything else because that is what drives the technical features. Interesting.
Very interesting. Okay, so as we move to the discussion time, yay, where we hear your opinion about all of this meta news and its impact on your VR experience, here are a few comments and social memes in reaction to the news. In general, the reaction hasn't been good, but most people are going to roll with it.
Okay, so now hit the drum roll, Mark. It's your turn. We have filled you in with the highlights of the major announcements this week. What are your thoughts about the upcoming, about Facebook becoming Meta? And what does this hold for the universe, for the metaverse? And what does it hold for your own personal experience? That raise hand button. And let's see what you have to say. All right, who do we have up first? We have Marta. Mardala Swa, is that right? You're on.
That's close enough. I can't pronounce it either, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Well, the fact is, I don't particularly care for the name they picked, but I get why they felt like they need to kind of become more than just Facebook. They need to. I mean, it's. I've worked for a company that was owned by a larger company, so that's a pretty common business practices. But the fact of the matter is that they have to make money off of this, or they're not going to keep it going. I mean, it's a business, and they've got to find a way to make money off of Altspace, of whoever else they own, and and I would much rather see them make. I mean, they're willing to put a lot of money into VR and making the metaverse and all that. They're willing to spend the money, and that tells me that they have no intention of letting it go away. But we've got to just kind of ride it out and realize that it is a business. They've got to make money, or I mean, it's just the way it is. That's just a modern. That's just the way things are in the business world. So I think we need to respect that.
Good point. It's true. It's very true. It's what's important is how they're making the money. I don't have a problem buying things. If anyone's familiar with Henrietta Lack's story about having her DNA, basically her cells, being used without her family's permission before and after her death, and not her permission, and the billions and trillions of dollars that were made on that, and the family got nothing. So it's taking, that's what cells from her body, but it's I think that there's some correlation with that, what they're tracking, but we'll see. I'd love to hear from anybody else. What are your thoughts about this? Is it going to affect whether or not you're going to buy the next Oculus headset, or are you going to, you're going to look at something else? Or are you going to go along with it? Are you excited about it? I mean, there's some great technology coming with that new headset. It's just beautiful. So we can focus on the headset part and set aside the issues associated with privacy and data control. But, how do you feel about Facebook taking over the world? Thoughts? Hit that raise hand button. Let's see what you have to say. We'd love to hear from you. Good, bad, and different. All right. Come on. This is your time to be heard.
Come on, you guys. This is a super
hand.
important topic.
It really is. And we want to hear your feelings about this. Hit the raise hand button that is in the lower right corner. There you go.
Okay,
all right. K-Mac. K-Mac, you're up. K-Mac? Hey, Mac, we can't hear you. You're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
There, now we can. Yes.
Okay, thanks. Sorry about that. I'm trying to find the right button, but I just think it's time for them to have some competition. I mean, they're the only game in town. I mean, true enough, I love the Oculus. I don't like it's tied to Facebook as much, but they really, really, really need some more competition out there so that people have a choice of whether they want to be a product or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting you say that because Microsoft has been an absolute leader in headsets. Their mixed reality headsets, they opened up the license, and so they're made by, I don't know, all these different companies, Lenovo, and there's Microsoft Odyssey, and there's all these different things, but they were still PC VR, they weren't portable. The Oculus Gear and then the Quest, those were more portable, and therefore they were more accessible for more people. And I think that getting more portable devices is going to make a huge difference in embracing that. But Microsoft has been a huge player from the very beginning. So yeah, I agree. There's got to be more competition in a way that we benefit. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, well said. Thank you. Okay. Steph, you're up.
Yeah, I'm wondering, there was a time when there were like competing power companies, competing telephone companies, and the sky was practically blackened with wires that went from homes to businesses that were not united in any way, and was a real mess at the beginning of the 19th century or 20th century. And I'm wondering how much of a mess are we going to have to make of all this before we start looking at it in terms of it being a utility that is a right as much as it is something fertile for making business and money off of. Just a thought.
Excellent point. So many people. Oops. Mute you here for a second. Got echo. She's famous for her infinite echoes there. Thanks. It's been interesting because many of us believed that by now, phone companies would be classified more as a utility. There kind of are. electric companies are utilities, water companies are utilities, but phone companies managed to just kind of dance around that as a unified government supported, right we have access to in the telecommunications. And of course, there was the big, AT&T breakup because they bought everything and then it was broken up. So will that happen to Facebook when it gets too monopolistic? Always a thought, waiting that for Google. All good points. And how many of you, give me some emojis, how many of you think that access to the internet should be a right, not a privilege? Hearts for rights, frowny faces, or something else for, it's a privileges. Yeah. I think that, VR should be access to VR, great, but we have to start with access to the internet. And so I love that. And I think that I would love to see. I'm worried about government control, but I think they're good points. Good point, Steph. All right, Darren, you're up, and then Marta Suar.
All right, I'll put
Darren?
my 2 cents in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought everybody had stage fright earlier because nobody was talking. But now, only thing I was concerned was basically if the sign on, you have to sign on to Facebook to get the Quest 2, versus them changing the rules saying you don't need it. There was a discussion I listened to earlier before I came in here online. They were talking about that, a lot of other things too. I put that in Discord. I think Karen might have seen it. Gave me a thumbs up on that, so she saw that. Yeah, it's about a 3.5 hour or something. Anyways, yeah, that's about it. I plan on getting a Quest 2 possibly. Because
wait a minute,
it
a
won't be
Quest 2?
available.
A Quest 2 is already out, been out for a year.
No, but I've been really waiting for the new one to come out, the Quest 2 Plus or the Quest 2 Pro. But that won't be. Well, yeah, now.
Yeah,
now
that's what it's now called, Cambria.
Now, which is limited from what I've seen. I don't think it's going to be the new Quest 2 replacement. I'm not sure if it will or not, but
well, Facebook says it is.
We'll see. So anyways,
do you think there's going to be something, that's more of a pro level, and that there's going to be something in between the Oculus 2 and the Cambria?
I still think there should be, from all the leaks and everything I've seen, and everybody's watched it. But
Okay.
no, I haven't seen anything yet to verify it's going to be a Quest 2 Pro or Plus.
Okay.
But at the same time, as I was kind of waiting before I was going to get a Quest 2, and that's the reason I'm still working with this Rift CV1 with no problems, except the MRE issue I have. And I think if I have an Android with Quest 2 Pro or Quest 2, I won't have those MRE problems that apparently won't affect me as much. So that's a good reason. Plus, it's nice to maybe try out something without using wires. So that might be a good thing.
It is very freeing to have no wires, but I've had no wires on multiple devices for years, and then some with wires.
Well, I was going to finish off by saying that with the Meta, which we're talking about, I think they were talking about this too, and I agree. With a guy named Anthony on the show I was watching earlier, he said that basically, I think it was him, that they're just going to be having the same old thing. They're still going to be. I think that all the people there discussed it. It's going to be the same model, just a different name. And like somebody was saying here, Mardaswar saying same thing. It's a business thing. They change business names because everybody's going to forget Facebook later on and think about the new Meta. And it's like it's going to be like a, what do you call that, umbrella that incorporates everybody else's all their type of software they offer.
Yeah.
So it's a way of getting them.
Cool.
It's going to happen again. Same thing. Collect data. It's not going to change. It's just different name. Everybody agreed upon that. All right, that's it.
I think you're right. All right, thanks, Darren. Great, thank you. All right, Mardaswar. Tell us
Well, I
what?
was just going to go with what he said. I read this morning that they're looking for a way to probably sometime next year. They're going to have it where you don't have to use your Facebook account to use the Quest. That's that's a good thing. I mean, personally, I didn't care, but I see why people would have a problem with it. It's a privacy issue, but but I agree also that they need competition.
Mhm.
I read that Apple is getting in on it too, which Apple's they got
Yep.
they got a but and they're moving actually towards AR instead of VR.
Yes. Yes.
Instead of getting these. And I think that's great. I think that will probably it could be where this is headed, and I think it'd be a good thing. I think I would like it better. I don't know about anybody else, but that's just my opinion on that. But yeah, the more
Well, yeah,
competition, the better.
Agree. I
ahead,
wish
sorry.
that Google had continued forward with Google Glasses. I think they stopped that way too soon. Their investment and their action on that, and that would have wiped out. Apple would have been so late to the party. But for whatever thing goes on behind the scenes, Apple dropped Google Glass, and which opened it up for others to play with it. But Apple now looks like they may be owning that market, and it'll be really interesting to see. I love AR. I've been a fan for a very, very long time, so it'll be interesting to see. Great points. Thank you. All right, we've got some more people up here. Lance, you're up.
Yes, I wasn't really gonna say anything, but Karen threatened me, saying you better say something. I'm calling on you. So
I didn't do that.
No, I said Karen did, but to be honest,
Karen,
I don't know
good for you.
how. But to be honest, I don't know how to think about it. I was actually able to make it to the Facebook thing that was shown in. What was it called again? No, not Verizon.
Horizon.
Venues. There we go. Venues. Yeah, that's what it was. Venues. And it wasn't too terribly good. The big thing, I will be honest, the big thing I got kind of excited about was the VR pets. That would be interesting. That he showed. I'm actually kind of excited for that. But, all this stuff that they were talking about people being able to world build and so many other interesting features. So I'm kind of on the fence where I'm excited, but at the same time it's like I don't know if I should be excited. So I don't know. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that reflects many people's thing. They just don't know what to think about it. Because it's complicated. There's so many layers to it. We love the technology. We love the advancements. If there was a way that we could help individually fund that in some way through subscription, through whatever it is, to help encourage those things, great. But to have free with payment costs, and it's just really. I'm with you on the complication. And yet we must protect our privacy as much as we can, and that's where the line has to be really, really drawn. I made it clear. I've been involved in social media since day one, before there was such a thing as social media, and helped with the development of it. And I fought very hard for standards for protection and privacy and copyright and all the rest for decades. And I am very thrilled that the EU created their GDPR. Pain in the ass, I got to tell you, from a web perspective. There's a lot of stuff that ain't fun about it, but I understand it and I respect it. I respect that they stood up and said, we're going to protect our citizens. Unfortunately, other countries don't have that extreme attitude. Facebook and Oculus is banned in Germany, though everybody sneaks it in anyway. And there's other things, there's some complicated stuff that's going on with that. And to see this movement to allow our bodies, our minds, and our privacy to be income is very frustrating. So it's always a hard balance to go. So we're
Mhm.
eager to hear from the rest of you on this. Thank you, Lance. All right, Stands with Trees, your turn.
Righty. Well, I'm not really sure what to think about all that. The whole, using us as products. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of on the fence on that one. But when I look at this stuff, I'm more of a hardware guy. I like the hardware porn. So
Mm-hmm.
I get
Absolutely.
really excited. Yeah, I get really excited
Very
when
excited
they
about that.
talk about all these new devices and all this new stuff coming out. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
Well,
Uh,
I mean, that was pretty much my thought.
okay. Well, yeah, no, I am thrilled. Aren't you, Karen, about all the cool
Oh,
stuff that's coming
yes,
with,
I
with the
am.
technology?
It's going to be awesome, and we're all here for the ride, all of us.
Absolutely. And we're gonna enjoy it. Steph, you're up, and then Jimmy.
I think we can learn something from what happened with the internet when the World Wide Web started to become a place
Mhm.
where someone could make at least a short-term career out of learning how to do a web page. It's not that much different than learning how to make a world. And a
Mhm.
lot of people made a living right up into the aughts as individual contractors doing just that. That's probably what's going to happen here before it starts getting easy enough that people want to do it just for themselves, the same way web pages are now. So, maybe we don't have quite as much to worry about, but you're right about the fact that it's got to be an economic decision and it's got to be based on benefiting everybody, not just whoever is owning the biggest corporation.
Agree. Great, good point. Yeah, it kind of is that way exactly right now with all the world building. All right, Jimmy, you're up.
Yeah, as an average citizen of the metaverse, the future metaverse, I think you can like certain things about it and hate other things about it. So for example, you can like the metaverse. You don't have to like, Meta's version of the metaverse. You
Mm-hmm.
can, you can like the headset, but you don't have to buy apps from their store, right? Well, at least right now you're locked into apps, but you could like, but you could do side loading, you could do these other things. So I think in this very complex world, it's okay to have these mixed feelings because it's not,
Mm-hmm.
you can like the hardworking engineers at Oculus and Facebook over there, soon to be just Meta. But you don't have to like Mark Zuckerberg, right? He looks kind of creepy in the thing. Nobody really, I don't know who likes Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, if you saw what John Carmack didn't call him Mark, he called him Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm like, damn, John, tell us how you really feel. So yeah, it's perfectly okay to pick and choose things that you like or don't like about it. You don't need to buy it all wholesale, so to speak. And I think overall, I like that Facebook is spending a lot of money, or Meta is going to be spending a lot of money and putting a lot of people investing into it. It's got to be better than Google and Apple not doing jack squat, right, in the last whatever years, or at least pulling back on their VR efforts. So overall, I think it's good. We should, keep stay vigilant and not let Meta's version of the metaverse be like all of it. But one thing to consider is there's lots of other alternatives today. There are other headset makers. They're not the only ones who know how to make headsets. So next time HTC Vive comes out with a product, don't send that nasty tweet that said this is not a great VR device. Like, give them a chance. Like, give them a fair shake. They're putting themselves out there, their hardware, their software, whatever. Or the next time you see an indie game, a VR game or something, and it's not super polished or it's like buggy, hold off on that tweet. Hold off on that Steam review that said you played it for $300, but there's not enough content, or like, So yeah, like let's give credit where credit's due. But I do want to plug Altspace. I think sometimes people don't think about it this way, but the way we think about it is like you're not like sucked into the Altspace ecosystem. Like, you're creating stuff but then you can take the same
Mhm.
stuff and put it like elsewhere, right? For the most part.
Mhm.
And so we're not trying to lock you in. We're not trying to like, we're not like gate, we're not going to be like, oh, okay, you have to write this paper before you can even start making your experience notes be accepted. So I think we believe in all that stuff. And we don't, and so help us promote that message, which is like, you don't have to hate big companies based on their name or just like, oh, it's Microsoft. Like, I think you should look at what they're actually doing and what Facebook is doing. Like, forget what they're
Absolutely.
talking about. See what they're actually doing. Like, can you make your own app and publish it right away on their ecosystem? No, right? Can you do some of these other things? And like in Altspace, like, we should get more credit for like you can upload your stuff without too many barriers. You can have an event without that many. It used to be reviewed, but we don't even do that anymore, right? Like you just kind of
Mhm.
set up your main event. And so look at the details, look at what people are actually doing. Look at what the companies are actually doing. Talk about the policies, talk about the actual actions, what you can or cannot do, less about the brand or the name. The media focuses too much on that. They don't have the time or
Absolutely.
patience to actually get down into nitty-gritty details to actually say, oh, okay, what are they actually letting you do or not? Can you create a business? Can you survive? Right? I think these are the interesting discussions that should be had. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you. And as we earlier in the news, the new World Builders event production webpage is a step in that right direction. It's a great step to help highlight those that are willing to either volunteer or offer paid services to help people. It's like Steph was saying with webpage design for things. It's the same idea. That's kind of where we are. And we have this freedom to create here in Altspace that is just really beautiful. You can do in many respects anything you want. And there are some limitations. Again, you can't put in a 3,000, terabyte world and expect that to be really performant. So be aware of those kind of limitations, but they're working in that direction as our headsets become more capable with it. I think that is beautiful. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for helping us sum that up. All right, Karen, any last words?
Yes, and I'll be quick, I promise, because I see it's on the hour right now. But I just want to say that those of us who are already utilizing VR, I don't think there's any question that we cannot wait for this metaverse to expand and see what happens. But we have to be, as everybody pointed out, very vigilant of the direction that it goes in, as well as AI, because AI basically is the new electricity that powers everything now, including these new technologies. So that has its own, that's another separate discussion sometime. But yes, I am so excited about this. I want it to happen, but we need to be vigilant.
Absolutely. And I want to add, we are at that sweet honey place right now where we have greater freedoms to be creative and allow our expressions to soar. We've learned to work around bugs, limited hardware, limited everything, and yet look what we've created here in this amazing community. There are so many gifts and so many amazing people that come together to collaborate to literally make magic. So thank you everyone for being a part of this beautiful community and everything you give to it, because you are designing that future. And corporate or not, it is about you. So thank you for that. So that is all for this week's news and updates. We're getting ready for our second to the last Halloween Fright Night in just a couple hours. So get ready for that. I want to thank everyone for joining us every week and for celebrating. We're heading into our 4th anniversary, our 4th year of news and updates.
We do this for you for free. We are not ASVR employees. Our team works hard each week to gather the news and information to help our community keep up with everything going on here in Altspace VR.
When news you need to know happens, we share it with you through our news and updates Discord. You will get all the news through the clutter of all the information that is out there. And trust me, There's a ton of information out there. We
Mhm.
dive through it. Please tell a friend and share our Discord and YouTube channels and our Twitch so that others can keep up with the news in and around Altspace.
Thank you, all of you, for being here every week to share the latest updates from around the Altspace VR community. We live stream the news onto YouTube every week, and you can catch up with past episodes and more about Altspace VR events, projects, news, and community activities. This is a labor of love, and we love our volunteer team members who help us gather the news as reporters, moderators, and help us put this show together every week.
If you'd like to join our team, please let us know. We're looking for every single talent, including reporters, that will help us photograph and report on the news, on what's going on around our metaverse of Altspace VR community.
Thanks to all of our news and updates volunteers and moderators who help make this event such a success. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So with these uncertain times, please be safe wherever you are in the world.
Yay! Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Karen.